So this is Eddie Brock, 3 mana, 3/3, return a 1 mana creature, or I guess less than 1 mana creature, so maybe Asmo from your graveyard to play. In this deck, we're trying to return Cecil, Nethergoyf for DRC, all very, very powerful 1-drops. I think it's really cool that you could just go slam this turn 3, return one of your 12 great 1-drops, and then say, if you don't kill this, in a few turns, this is going to transform into this 5/5 Menace Trample Haste that has some flavor text. I don't think you're really going to use this ability that much. Maybe you will. But it cares about sacrificed mana value. Not the mana value is like really, really low. So I don't know. Maybe you'll like cast a Street Wraith and sack a Street Wraith. But I think it's pretty interesting, pretty powerful, and this is an archetype that we're doing really well with. It was several months ago at this point, but there was a time we were doing really well with this like Cecil. Well, I guess when Cecil came out, this Rakdos Cecil build, and I feel like Eddie Brock just ends up being like just this perfect top end of the curve in this archetype where you just wanted I like that it helps the aggro game plan and it helps the grindy plan too. Yeah, I do know this now. You can cast the backside just for 6 mana, so like this will come up as like a nice top deck sometimes. Although the thing is, a lot of the time in the late game, and I feel like a lot of time in the late game, you'll just want to cast the front side and then transform it anyways, like just 1 into 2. You can get the 2 for 1. Okay, well, we got 2 Eddies and 1 land. Let's go to Mulligan here. So we can deal ourselves 8 damage, which is enough to flip the Cecil turn 2. Seems like we don't need the fetch land, but the fetch land should be kind of strictly better than the basic, because I can go Thoughtseize Cecil turn 1, and then I can look at my top card. If I like it, I could draw off Wraith. Otherwise, I could shuffle. So we'll put back the second Blood Crypt here. Any Soulstone Necrobrews yet? Okay, I don't really understand the idea of playing both those cards in the same deck, where like Necro is turning off your graveyard. You don't usually play a lot of creatures with Necro. It's just a black mana rock, more or less, that doesn't curve into Necro. I could be kind of interested in Manifold Key. Cool. I wonder how close. So I did add a. Wait, no, I might have taken it away. We'll see. I hope they're playing Dice Factory. I think I added a Voltaic Key and then I took it out. I'll take another Thoughtseize. Is there a case of Inti versus FOMO? No, it's definitely FOMO. Karn Liberated. So this is like old school Dice Factory. FOMO's so insane with Cecil because you get to it untaps itself too. Yeah, but for me, FOMO is like really non-negotiable. Soulstone Beseech the Mirror. So the thing about Beseech the Mirror is that there is very little to Beseech the Mirror into. Another thing is it's like that's not really different from like a Talisman Beseech the Mirror. You know that, right? It's like what is the big draw to to this? You know, like what is our payoff? Our payoff is we have a 2 mana rock that taps for black. We already have 5 of those in the format. It's like for me, what I think the Soulstone could do is I think you could play the Soulstone in okay, so they might block the Cecil and then we could Eddie Brock it back. So now it's just taps for now it's a 5/5. Dang, I'm just dead to the Saga token plus the Manifold Key. So I guess I have to attack. Soulstone is a black card, so let's use March. I don't know. I'm not very excited about this, but that's true. It's a black card, so you can pitch it. You're not wrong. I'm not excited about this. This is not like day 2 brew. We have a black mana rock that's a black card. You can pitch it to Soulstone in March. What I think you could do with this card is I think you can play it in black-white blink and just let it be. I think it should be like a mandatory one of in all blink shells. I think you can maybe play 2 or 3 if you're more in on it. Funny that we just kind of wanted to transform the Cecil back. And then have it be like this late game Ameria, you know, just like start like outgrinding your opponent. And then it's like especially better if you're playing Thoughtseize and Fatal Push because you get to curve it in there. but I'm not very excited for just that it is a black card. It should also pair nicely with Besiege. I am just Besiege sacking your mana rock is not a good plan. It hasn't been a good plan before the Soulstone was printed. I don't really understand why all of a sudden it would be a good play. Besiege was kind of interesting when the ring was banned. When the ring was legal, the One Ring is now banned in Modern, making it significantly less interesting. And there is nothing like going turn 4, sacrifice your mana rock to besiege a Necro into play. It isn't a good line. Like, it's card disadvantage. It's weak to counter magic. It's slow. It's not a good line. What if you don't? And also, if you just don't have your mana rock, your besiege also really, really sucks. Besiege is good with Necro. So being able to sack Necro is okay. Good with Necro is it feels like a stretch. It's like, I would say, kind of okay with Necro. To be fair, Besiege and Legacy wins because Tindrill's off rocks. Yeah, but what are we talking about? That's Legacy. You have Dark Ritual, and you have Cabal Ritual, and you have Lotus, Lion's Eye Diamond. You can't do anything close to that in Modern. You can't do anything resembling those lines in Modern. So, like, I kind of liked Besiege in the balance deck, in the Lantern Control Dice Factory. I thought it was kind of interesting there. All right, dead to 1 Urza Saga. Okay, so we'll bring in our sideboard cards. The Vexing Bauble should be pretty good against them, too. I think we're just cutting all of the creature removal. We have the Meltdowns. I think we can cut the Phoenixes. We don't need to be flying over. Don't want Ashiok. Yeah, I think we could just reliably attack their Planeswalkers, too. Well, we got a Meltdown. Let's keep. Herald of Anguish. I have played Herald of Anguish in Modern. It has performed really badly. Do we cut a number of Nethergoyf since our card types are lower? I think we just need the cheap aggro. I just kind of think I think sideboarding this game wasn't that complicated. We cut the cards that were bad and we brought in the cards that were good, you know. Is Cecil my favorite Final Fantasy card? I think it was the best card to come to Modern from Final Fantasy. Maybe VV. I guess I had this opinion about Cecil, and then we found the VV Cauldron deck, which was pretty good. So I guess I'll give the nod to VV. I really like Tifa. I think Tifa was like certainly the most fun card. Besiege sacking your mana rock to find Fate's Reward, get back with your eggs. I've played that deck. It was really, really bad. But yeah, I don't know. Besiege Soulstone. Don't expect it to come anytime soon. If you like, the thing about Soulstone also is like, I do think that 1 or 2 Soulstones in Blink it should be pretty good, especially if you end up playing Thoughtseize and Fatal Push in your 75. I think your build should be pretty happy to play those. No, don't play a Mana Battery. And I think that if you are not playing Thoughtseize and Fatal Push, it's a lot less clear that that card is going to be good in your deck. It feels very odd to be on this side of the table against Dice Factory. Use Sandman. I have it in a deck. I have Sandman and the Convoke enchantment in the same deck. That might be what we're playing next. How about Cloud? I like Cloud. I just really like Tifa. I think just the Tifa is like really, really, really fun deck building card. Feels very odd to be on this side of the table. Meltdowning the Dice Factory deck. This is why I think it's really important to play Tron. I don't know if they are playing Tron. We saw Darksteel Citadel in their deck, which makes me think that they don't have the ability to Tron in their deck. I think I'm gonna kill Urza Saga over the Temple. They do have a K command. It just like, this could get them a Surge Node or a Chalice to like rebuild their mana. So they're going for a Scry Draw instead of killing Cecil. Oh, sorry, I guess, I thought they would Scry Draw and then kill Cecil instead of making the spawn. We'll see what their plan is. They do put a card on top. Does the deck with Tifa also require Noble or Ignoble Hierarchs? I mean, we played that deck. Boy, the hierarchs really have aged poorly. The best Tifa build we played was also playing Rydia, and so you were like, you had like Rydia Urza Saga plans, and you had Rydia Urza Saga plans, and you could get adventuring gear off Urza Saga to combo off with Tifa, and you got to play a lot of protection spells in that build because Urza Saga reduced the burden of playing pump spells. And while that was the best build we had tried, it wasn't particularly good. So I might still play the Cecil if they don't block sack here. Nice. Be fun to lose this one. Nope. Maybe I do want to bring in or leave in some removal spells. The Vexing Baubles are noticeably worse on the draw. Eddie is also like pretty bad in this matchup because they're not killing my stuff so much, but I can still like discard and surveil. Really love the Parker Calibrated Blast. Would be playable in an RC. I mean, we played 5 games with it. We won all of them. Or 5 matches with it. We won all of them. I would not play any deck in an RC that you played less than like 20 matches with, bare minimum. Ideally like a lot more than that. How much of the 5-0 was Parker Luck cracked versus Reanimator running well? I don't know. We ran well the whole time. We killed a lot of people with Parker Luck / Blast. We killed a lot of people with the Reanimator plan. We killed a lot of people with sideboard cards. And that, I mean, that's modern, right? That's modern. But it did feel like the two plans overlapped really well while still letting you play a lot of card selection and card draw, which that felt really good. But we definitely got very lucky, though, the whole league, for whatever that's worth, too. But I did really like it. Well, let's keep this on the draw against Dice Factor. We don't have Meltdown or Charmaw this time, but can't really say no to this. So after some deliberation over there, they mulled a 6, and they're still thinking about their 7. We kept our 7. I know you say it's preferable to rent cards. This is like a subscription service to rent. Yes, it's like a monthly fee from Mana Traders or Card Hoarder. Another turn 1 Urza Saga. And then they just passed the turn this time. Is there any world where... Oh yeah, sorry, I guess that's just the same. If I like my top card, I draw it. If I don't, I shuffle. I do like Channeler, but we think want to find something else here. They have a Glaring Fleshraker, but we have the Unholy Heat. They boarded in Disruptor Flute. I don't know why every Tron deck just boards in Disruptor Flute in every matchup. It's been something that has seemed to me been happening for a long time now. I don't understand why they keep doing it. Why does my opponent have Disruptor Flute in their deck against me? Why does every Tron opponent have multiple Disruptor Flutes against me, seemingly no matter what deck I play? What are y'all doing? I don't understand. Are they going to Disruptor Flute name Bloodstained Mire here? Like, let's see. They might name Meltdown, I guess. Like, what Discord is telling you this is good? What about Cecil or Detective Phoenix? Yep, both those cards are in this deck. Do you think Spider-Man bad set? I think Spider-Man bad set. Gift subs. Does anybody else think Universes Beyond bad? Really makes you think. Okay, let's play Goyf and hold up the Mire here. Universe Beyond bad. Money, please. Yeah, kinda, I do. I do think it's kind of bad, but that's not something I like to really try to dwell on or talk about a lot. There are some cards I like, there's some cards I don't. I do think that the set, so far, it looks a little bit better than I thought it would be at first. And that's all I really ever care about. They grab a Surge, no, their hand is Fleshraker, Urza Saga, 2 mystery cards. There's just only so many times over the last... How many years has it been since Universe Beyond has been out? 4? There's only so many times over the last 4 years that you can say universe is beyond bad without feeling like we're wasting our time repeating this over and over again. They do have a mana battery, which we could have expected, I think, since they got the surge node here. Is Flute a good plan for decks like this if you always name Meltdown and Wrath? I don't think so. I guess that's the plan, is you just name the sideboard card. I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, Meltdown is still going to be good if I draw at this game. I think I need to hold up the Unholy Heat, but I might draw... I guess I just want to... Sorry, I want to haste the... Yeah, I just want to haste the FOMO, actually. Now, do I think I need to save this for the construct. I'm okay if they chump. Well, if they chump, then they get to like block and sack for the surge node. I think the lower quality of card design for the Spider-Man set is heightened by how cool and interesting the card design is for Edge of Eternity. I agree that like I agree that's a great insight that Edge was like the best set ever in my opinion. I think it is. I think Edge of Eternity was literally the best set they ever did. And I do think that's the fact that Spider-Man's coming off of it's a pretty mediocre set that's coming off the best set ever is part of how we're feeling here. All right, so there's another Urza Saga. We don't know their last card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can heat the token. Edge best set is a delusional take. It's a subjective tech. You haven't. Literally everybody has a favorite set. Edge is my favorite set. This is crazy. Magic Twitch chatters will argue with you about everything. You're literally not allowed to have a favorite Magic set without someone debate lording you. I guess we're gonna play the FOMO. Should I play FOMO first? I guess is there anything I could draw? I mean, if I surveil another type into the yard, I have lethal. Yeah, I guess that makes sense to try to surveil because I could just haste the FOMO next turn, which isn't much different from casting it this turn. If I find another type, we have lethal, but we don't have too many other types left. Well, 1 life sure isn't 0. See what they can do next turn. They're going to have... This will basically be the same. So 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 if they hit the Saga. 2 cards in their hand after they draw a card. I think growth is going to disagree. Yeah, it's obviously fine if you disagree with my opinion that Edge is the best set ever. I think most people are going to have their own favorite set, but just like not just politely disagreeing on your favorite set is so dumb. They get a Manifold Key. Sorry, I guess I forgot that the key is going to let them jump on mana some here. Time to have 6 in Prey Lads. Well, I don't know. It's like, I guess you could have like Karn for Bridge, which would be really bad. You just don't have that many outs. They have 1 card in their hand. Although they didn't make a Saga token because they have Ugin. So they're currently dead on board. They seemed like they might have tapped wrong. I guess they're trying to draw a castable here, but they're still dead even if they can exile the FOMO because I have a backup FOMO here in Arena. What's so great about Arena? The flavor, the card design, the art, the freshness. I think it has basically no weak categories. And just, I guess kind of simply too, it's like Edge isn't a perfect set. But, when I think about all the sets they've ever done, there isn't a set that I like more than Edge of Eternity, which is just always going to be the baseline. Limited is weak. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play any of the Limited, which is, I guess, part of why I have this opinion. What's wrong with Station? I guess I'll put back the Wraith. Yeah, I haven't played Commander in a while, but I play from time to time. I heard Station was annoying and limited, actually, where you would have to station like one trigger at a time, and that was kind of slow. Don't really mind if this dies, right? Because we've got the Eddy. They have a Galvanic Blast. That's interesting. We do need to find line number 3, though. Seems like we got to take the Steel Cutter. I'm a little bit scared about them having VV plus Flame. But they don't have the third red or blue source yet. Can you play Marty Random Team or Omni, please, respect? Well, I will say these comments are like, please play something that you're not playing. I've never really been too effective. But a new set just came out, so we really got to prioritize these cards for the week. Guess we just go ahead and graveyard that. At least the week, if not more. Station absolutely should have been instant speed. Being a sorcery speed made it really rough and limited. Yeah, I think tapping all at once would have been better. That is a problem with Station. Although being an instant speed would make like attacking and blocking pretty different. Werebear with the 29 months. Thanks, welcome back. So they're gonna play VV, then they're gonna play the Bauble. And then their hand is Flame of Anor Mystery card. They have the Aether Spellbomb up, so even if I do draw a Unholy Heat for the VV, we're not in the best shape. Let me go ahead and Surveil, then Cling to Dust. Target the Steel Cutter because of Imri. Okay, so graveyarding this Stomping Grounds means I can't flip the Eddy, but that should be okay. Oh, right, so they don't have the VV activation up because it's only on their turn. That's a very clutch. Unholy Heat. Do I want to draw a second Channeler? We definitely have better draws. I think the thing is I'm maybe even more likely to just escape the Cling to Dust than I am to play just a Channeler next turn if that's all I have. So let's just graveyard it here. Carnage was pretty good in the Nightmare deck we played yesterday. Let's draw. We did get several looks at it, but yeah, very, very, very lucky to find for sure. This is a really cool brew. What inspired it? Well, this is kind of an updated build of the Rakdos Cecil deck that we were doing really well with when Cecil came out with Final Fantasy. I think Eddy fits really well because you just have 12 really crazy 1-drops to like come back and dump back and then threaten to flip later. You like DRC? Yeah, Channeler is one of my favorite cards ever. Like top 5 favorite card ever. So their hand is Flame, 3 mystery cards. Probably not feeling too good about this spot. Another Saga is interesting though. So now they can make a 3/3, which doesn't block any of my creatures effectively. Could trade for a creature though. I guess we just main phase escape the Cling. We could maybe find like a Detective's Phoenix. So let's exile 1, 2, 3 of our 4 lands. And then the Unholy Heat and the Channeler, we should still keep Delirium after the Cling goes back to the yard. Oh, sorry, you just still have Delirium. Even before it goes back. Okay, we did find Detective's Phoenix. So a little bit of good news, bad news on the Phoenix. The good news is we can cast it. The bad news is we're going to lose Delirium. So it might be right to save the Phoenix because my opponent has the Aether Spellbomb. Although if I go Phoenix on the Cecil, I attack with just Cecil, Eddy. Then they go make a construct. I guess they can't go make a construct, block, and bounce because then the construct dies. Versus I just attack for 8 and then their construct also dies if they bounce. Okay, I think with that in mind, I'm just going to save the Phoenix for next turn. This also might be able to haste like a new creature and give me an extra attacker, although I guess I already have the arena. But I like that they can't trade for the construct and bounce in the same turn here. I guess if they bounce the Eddy and then I guess they're not going to bounce end of turn. Okay, if I drew another Eddy, or if this Eddy was bounced, what I could have done is I could have gone haste the Eddy with arena and then bestow the Phoenix on the Cecil that I return. Also, in a Grixis deck with Carnage, Clones, and Blood Artist effect, you can curve Blood Artist into Faithless Looting plus Carnage to do an infinite ping loot. Okay, so let me make sure I'm understanding this. So if you have a Blood Artist effect and then you go Carnage to recur a Phantasmal Image, you're able to, the Legend rule resolves before the Carnage trigger goes on the stack. They target the Cling. I wouldn't have assumed that that's how it works, but if that's how it works, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, we played Lady Octopus. I honestly got kind of bored because it was really normal Mox Amber affinity. Okay, yeah, I didn't understand that interaction. It does seem like a really fast way to get infinite death triggers. It's probably worth working on. I think yeah, there's kind of an interesting angle where Sephiroth is much higher quality than Blood Artist and works with Unearth, but Blood Artist does have this curve for the turn 3 win, but Blood Artist is just not the strongest card. So it looks like I'm not quite attacking for lethal. Goyf isn't particularly helpful against the Soul Guide Lantern either. You need 2 Phantasmal Images in your yard for it to work. Oh right, because the Carnage can't bring back itself. That's a pretty tough break. You still work on the Ice Till, then Tuco Craterhoof. A little bit. I did like that deck. I think I am attacking them. If they return a removal spell to kill the Channeler, I still have the Phoenix, which is still lethal. I guess I did make actually a pretty big mistake by exiling the Thoughtseize instead of a creature here, because I'm not forcing the Soul Guide Lantern sacrifice anymore. Yeah, that was a mistake. Your combo is Carnage and Images. Those aren't the most embarrassing cards to play. Yeah, but it's a 4-card combo, right? With Carnage, Double Image, Blood Artist, and it's pretty fragile. Wait, it can return itself? The clone, because the clone. Okay, let's see. So the clone reanimates itself because it's in the graveyard. Oh, I see. So you just keep returning the same one. Okay, and that's back to being interesting again. Yeah, Mimic working is interesting too. Yeah, I think it's good enough to work on. My opponent says oops. Why did they oops? Oh, they oops the Urza Saga. Okay, so they're gonna maybe they drew a flame. You can play Sephiroth's and Apprentice, great cards. Apprentice is better, Sephiroth's better too. Seems like kind of like notably worse than Soul Trader combo for the most part. They do have the flame. Seems like we might be just short. We could chop like a Tarfire. Is Eddie Brock plus the Warp cards, Warp Angel Guide, Pride, Ephemerate, anything? Maybe. I think that like for the most part, like the Warp Angel just is enough 1-drop support that you don't want to be topping the curve with Eddie Brock. What's nice about going this direction is that you're filling your graveyard up a lot with between DRC and FOMO. and like Cecil trades really aggressively, so your stuff is just more likely to be in the graveyard than in your Guide Pride build. Okay, so they reveal an iteration, or they reveal an island to the iteration. I kind of disagree. Grave Trawler and Soul Trader are both very meta cards to have in your deck. Marinot, Sephiroth, Carnage, Pilgrimage seem a bit better. Maybe. You do also have to like to cast the Carnage. Like it's kind of, you have to have the looting too. I don't know. We'll think about it some more. Another Mox Opal. You think from my experience playing Magic that some of your more less competitive brews just win because of your skill level and knowledge? I see this point a lot. I guess, you know, if you're good at Magic, you're gonna win more. If you're bad, you're gonna lose more. The card, just like, you know, but the cards in my hands, that they don't do anything differently that they could do in your hands, you know. I feel like I usually see this comment from people that like just don't exactly even understand the mission statement of the stream or don't watch. I don't know, but you know, what I try to do on this channel is maximize ideas, and I try to identify how far ideas can go, and I try to play things that I think have good ideas. And I usually think that whenever this point's made that my decks do better because I'm so good at Magic, it feels like this weird half diss. I don't know. That I think is pretty unhelpful and is like doesn't talk about anything specific, and I don't know. I usually find the comment to be pretty unproductive. There's a mission statement. Yeah, it's to identify interesting ideas in Modern and to maximize them to their fullest potential. And you know, then when, you know, once we identify how good an idea is, we can leave it until new cards get printed or the metagame changes or things get unbanned or banned, and we can come back. So I'll go with 31 months. Thank you. Welcome back. All right, so I need to cut 5 cards here. Thanks, mid. Trim 1 Wraith. Let the Cling to Dust. I'm kind of interested in cutting like a DRC and a Goyf just to be a bit easier on the against the graveyard hate. I think just 1/1's kind of interesting. Although maybe it's just actually -2 Goyfs. And then go down an Eddy because we're down on the 1-drops. Like I think the comment about like my you know, I do well because I'm good at Magic and my decks suck. I think that comment would be way more interesting if it was ever in reference to like a specific deck, which I don't know if I've ever seen it in reference to a specific deck. I think people who say that are mostly just attributing it to my content as a whole compared to any specific thing you're talking about, which I'm just always way more interested in having a conversation about something than other stuff. I don't quite have Delirium to kill the Tamiyo. They might block and then we could still heat, I guess. We draw a land, yeah, I think we're gonna have to go for the survey. I guess no, let's still attack first, and then if they don't block, we will heat the Tamiyo. If that was correct. There's an Eddy, which doesn't give me Delirium, and then one more look. Still no Delirium, but we have now a Delirious Channeler, so they can't attack with the Tamiyo at least. Yesterday I was wondering if Carnage is the fastest way to turn 2 with something good in your yard. It is, but then you have to have Cookbook in your deck, which is tough these days. Am I interested in other formats than Modern? I am. It's just very tough to be super engaged with multiple formats at a time. Also kind of tough. Let's go ahead and play a FOMO this turn. Discard a Charmaw. We draw a land, we can play a Goyf, and then maybe we'll draw like a Bauble or a Surveil land to get these re-Delirious. This is Delirium again, and so I think just trying to force the action on the Lanterns is going to be fine. I've gotten a lot of success emulating your maximizing ideas by playing good cards, philosophy, and cube design. Yeah, it's just really fun. I don't know. I care about. There's a Saga. If we draw an untapped land, we can charm all the Saga. They're trying to play a VV and they mistapped, maybe? No, it's an Ashiok. Interesting. So they don't minus because the Ashiok would die. Maybe we draw a fetch land and can't cast. Okay, so we'll cast the Thoughtseize. Pretty unlikely we get Delirium, but we could hit a Tarfire or a FOMO, maybe. I think I'm going to greed a little bit by graveyarding that. And then let's keep the Meltdown on top. In their hand, they have a Steel Cutter and a Sink. So we'll take the Sink since we can melt down the Steel Cutter, I guess. And then I'm going to put the Ashiok to 1. And they can cash in the Ashiok to get rid of my Meltdown that's on top, but then the Ashiok dies, so I don't think we can do a lot better than that. So ideally we're saving the Meltdown for next turn when we can clean up the Saga tokens, right? Unless they cash in the Ashiok, the Lantern control me. They have a Flame? So they kill the FOMO, then they draw 2, which indicates that they are intending to cash in the Ashiok. Which means I'm not going to draw the Meltdown. Interesting that they're going after the Goyf and not the Channelers. I feel like the Channelers are a bit better. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So if I draw a land, I can kill the Saga. We do draw the land. Can't attack because of how dang good Tamiyo is. And they can pick up a Flame. So if they have like another Tamiyo or an Emry in their hand, probably game over. Let's see what other cards they got with the Ashiok. They only got 1 Meltdown, so we should have still 2 in the deck, right? Or am I playing 2 or 3? I played like a lot of Rakdos decks with this set, and some have 2, some have 3. This one has 3. So they do minus on the Flame of Anor, which means that they have another wizard, which they just get to do this really gross loop-de-doop again. Yeah, someone called Tamiyo a vanilla 1-drop, which wasn't the most unhinged thing anybody's ever said in this chat, but was up there for sure. Okay, big draw step. Alright, so we need 1 type for Delirium, which also kills the Tamiyo. We have a bunch of clue tokens, which is a problem. Okay, that's another type. We do get to kill the Tamiyo. We get to take the Steel Cutter. And then they're going to be sacking a bunch of clues, I guess. But we might actually win this one. One and 2 minute Planeswalkers should never have ultimates. I think they should at least die to Bolt, too. If they flip. Like, Tamiyo, Tamiyo goes to 4 loyalty, right? Yeah, the fact that Tamiyo flips to 4 loyalty is really crazy. Okay, they drew a Galvanic Blast, and they played a tap Siemens, so though, and I think they... Oh, sorry, they also drew an Aether Spellbomb off the turn. Okay. We could also escape a Goyf maybe this turn. We just draw a Blood Crypt. If we escape a Goyf, we have to get rid of our only land, our only enchantment, and our only sorcery, so... I think we'll wait on that, and then... We could hold this as a bluff. I think I'll just go and play it out, because... With this in my yard, I might have the sinks here. Eddie would be a pretty good top deck. Yeah, Johnny can flip to 5. That's true, although usually 0. Top deck to repeal. And an Urza Saga. Jeff with the 26 months. Thanks so much. Welcome back, my friend. So they pass to me, looking for Eddie, looking for Charmaw, looking for Meltdown. That's on my list. So it could be good to escape the Goyf. if we think that they're going to get Graveyard Hate off the Saga. I think that's probably better done next turn, because I'm not going to be able to attack with the ground creatures into the Saga. Although it could be a problem that they have the Shadow Spear in hand. We might be dead before we can melt down the tokens. Although they've sacked a lot of constructs, blues, so probably not dead to the attack. Yeah, I don't think you're going to flip Eddie that often. We do have one Stomping Ground in the deck. I mean, it's only our second match, but I think it's going to be a very rare thing that you would flip an Eddie. Wait, they're making this main phase? What is the idea? So they can equip the Shadow Spear. That's good for me. Don't crack your baubles. This helps me escape the Goyf, but I think it's just too good a top deck next turn. Yes, they didn't sack the baubles! They can see the game! Let's fucking go. Never, ever sack your Mishra's Bauble. There's no point. They are literally Darksteel relics. I gotta Google, I need to turn these off. I got like a Google notification for an article about how there's a 0 mana artifact that just 0 mana regenerate target creature for 3, and I was just and how that like top 8'd an event, and I'm like, it seems better than these Mishra's Baubles that these Affinity players never ever sack. Yeah, at least Relic is indestructible, you know. I want a Tarfire in the draw to be a bit better against Emery. I have 5 answers to it. Is the Spider-Man set arena? I looked through the Omen Pass set, not seeing Spider-Man. It's the same set. I don't know if you're trolling, but it's the same set. Okay, they're on a mold to 6. If we draw a fetch land, we'll do the fetch land scry with the bauble, but we don't. So just playing a Cecil. We will need to draw lands at some point to win this game. Might have a little bit of time. It's nice that we have the Wraith to go with the Phoenix. Yeah, Herbal Poultice? Which I don't feel like I really retained that card in my database, which is fun. They have a Saga on top. Going to be pretty unlikely to kill that with Charmaw. They're going to have to play another Saga. They have a Steel Cutter, but no 0-drop. So I might detect this Phoenix this turn. It's a little weird because I don't yeah, I think I'm gonna do this so I can get the Surveil, and it's also like I deal an extra 2 this turn, but I also take an extra 2 this turn. But if I Phoenix next turn, then I get to flip, and then I'll have taken 2 less damage overall. I also may want Wraith and Bauble in the yard if they play like a VV this turn, so I could like get Delirium first. Why Bauble and Upkeep? Because no free permission. Yeah, it shouldn't really matter. Although they had a fetch land in play, right? So I guess it matters for me making sure that I know what card they drew. So we really want to find a land so we can melt down X equals 2 next turn and kill the Steel Cutter. Not trolling, lol. What's the news? Why we don't have Spider-Man cards on Arena? There's a rumor, at least, that they didn't want to pay for the license, but it's not really super confirmed what the reason is. Alright, so this will give us Delirium. Might be better to target them, but if we don't draw the land for the Meltdown, it's like a little bit worse. So they're going down to 10. We flip the Cecil. A beautiful 6/6 flying lifelinker. And that's also why we have the Omen Path version of Eddie Brock here. Viggo, Enforcer of Eag's Crossing, my favorite Magic the Gathering character. With this, I don't know, the art on some of these cards is like, what is this face doing here? Is this AI? I don't know. It's like, no offense to Michael Philippi, but like, what is this like random face here? Kind of a weird hand. Let's go to Mulligan. How to keep this on 6? Put back the Tarfire since we should have Delirium without it. If I have a land, I'm not going to play a 1-drop here. You have Thoughtseize is my Thoughtseize. Well, I guess I'm going to Thoughtseize them. Don't love that I don't have Delirium this turn to have, like, the heat up. Call that a Thoughtseize bug. Are you going to force of negation me? They force pitching Kaito. What is so good that's in their hand that they didn't take the heat, but they took the Thoughtseize and forced the Thoughtseize? Is it this Psychic Frog? Are they saying that they have the ability to reanimate something? I guess that's what they're saying. Many people are saying this. Let me see if I can surveil into Delirium, because that would be really helpful if that's the case. Nice. So now, I guess we don't play around second Force of Negation, but they could have it. It's just not that likely, right? Since they've used one. Okay, I guess that's what they were saying the whole time. Very odd. They pitched another Kaito, or so they pitched another Force. Okay. So, I mean, I could have played around with the upkeep heat. Then I would run into Counterspell, which to me seemed more likely. One pass has some banger art. Yeah, it's very hit or miss. I agree some of it's good. We don't want to target their graveyard because they can just counter the Cling with the Frog activation. Oh, no. They had Cling? They had Cling for my Cling? Oh, it's crazy. Dude, the Frog players are just so good at having it. I don't know what to say. Okay, I don't have a 1-drop in the yard, so I guess we are just going to ace the FOMO. Not super good that we didn't have a 1-drop here. Very odd game in general, though. Okay, I'm out of Surveil lands. Get my Stomping Ground. Oh, sorry. Oh, no. I changed these for Verdant Catacombs yesterday. And then they got unchanged. How did that happen? I remember doing it on stream. I guess it just didn't save. Didn't matter too much. The Graveyard of Thoughtseize. If I didn't exist, I'd really like Viggo's art because I like weird, busy, interesting art. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just odd, but yeah, maybe it is just we're too AI brained. I just don't really understand what the child is doing here. They have a Riddler, which is incredible here. It's so crazy to me that Riddler sees play in decks like this. It sees play in decks like this as just like a value card with just no way to scam it, and then it also sees play in Scam and Gorios. Just such a banger. Okay, so they warp this away. If we draw Unholy Heat, could maybe get out of this. I think let's go. Maybe go to game 2. I think I'm down to go to game 2. This is going to be out of heat range from here. But not a lot for this matchup. I think I just want to cut the Tarfires. Bring in a Spellbomb and a Trespasser. It's crazy how good the Force of Negations end up being against me, huh? Yeah, we could have played around the second Force. Like, it's possible we could have sniffed it out, right? Because they took the Thoughtseize over the Heat. And then they forced the Thoughtseize. I don't know. It's tough to sniff out, but it might have been possible. That's right. I probably shouldn't throw out the AI claims. I just don't understand the child. I admittedly am not the best at sniffing this kind of stuff out. Something I've been kind of reflecting on too when it comes to like art and AI and like, oh, I'm writing a novel. It's like, if you weren't an established artist or author or writer of any kind before the implementation of AI, you have no relationship with your audience, you have no credibility, no accountability, And maybe this is more true for writing than art because it's just I would think easier to prove or see that art is done with AI versus writing. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how writing with AI looks. But it just almost is the case that every new artist or writer that makes anything, or musician even, that makes anything is going to be accused of using AI if they're good. You know, it's like it seems so impossible to avoid. Like if you're good and successful and you make a nice work of art, like how could you not be accused of using AI? I think I have to keep this on 6 on the play. I think on the mold to 6 we put back the 3-drop here. The artist has done many magic cards. Yeah, and it's like, but that's the thing is it's like that's the point I'm making too. And you know, I probably shouldn't have even brought up the AI thing, and I apologize for that. But that is my point. That like that's what gives them credibility here is that they're an established magic artist, but they don't have the credibility necessarily because the card doesn't look like AI. You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna attack with Cecil and then let's see. I'm making a card game, board game, and AR works honestly the safer to make it happen. Yeah, well, I'm doing the same thing, but we're commissioning real art because I just kind of can't stomach it. Quantum X with Twitch Prime. Everything I don't like is AI. Well, I'm kind of trying to make the opposite point. I know you're just memeing here, right? But I'm trying to make the opposite point that if something is good, it's going to be accused of using AI, and that's what really concerns me. Interesting. Kind of good against my hand with the. It's good against every card in my hand somehow. Damn. Okay, I guess they really got me with this Bowmaster. So I can make a 5/5 Nethergoyf. This is a 3-turn clock. I attack for 3. They attack me for 3 or 5. 3, 5. So we are technically winning this race with maybe the ability to pad our life a bit with a Cling to Dust. The real unfortunate part is sometimes AI can be really helpful when used by people who aren't lazy with it. Yeah, I mean, I think AI can be like a great tool for like a lot of fields, but I think when it comes to art, it's just such a net negative. Okay, so I guess my plan here is going to be to attack with this Goyf. My opponent is going to flash in the subtlety, end of turn, go for lethal, and I'm going to try to gain 3 life off the Cling to Dust after they attack with the subtlety so that I could win the game and hope they don't have a counterspell for it. To me, this seems like the best possible way to try to win this one. They play Otawara as a land. We know one of their 3 cards is a Spell Snare. Well, you just have to hope this is sloppiness, because otherwise, like, it's just always so scary when your opponent plays a card that in a way that you couldn't beat, you couldn't beat it, and they just like play it in a way that you can. Like you always think that they have something here, but we'll see. We know one of their 3 cards is Spell Snare. Just have to dodge the other 2. They warp Quantum Riddler. If they had hard cast it, we couldn't have beaten that. And so here's the Tamiya. But we have Alex. We need to draw exactly Unholy Heat. No! So we would win here if we had 1 more life point. The draw card on Fear of Missing Out is not a May ability. Oh, they also have Spell Snare. Okay, good game. Hey, Svomo. They have a Spell Snare, and I'm dead to the Orcish Bowmaster. Again, the card draw on the FOMO is not a May, so I died to the trigger. There's a Marsh Flats. Is there anything I could... I guess if I drew Thoughtseize, I'd probably Thoughtseizes and then play Goyf and Cecil next turn. Watch the Beans VOD YouTube. Love it. Yeah, that deck's been really good. Certainly wanting to play another challenge soon-ish, but gotta be focused on Spider-Man for a week or two at least. Definitely a much lower impact set than Edge of Eternity was. Yeah, I do think Bowmaster is good in Modern. It's good against the Blink decks. It's good against Boros. It's good against Affinity. It doesn't have really too many spots where it sucks. Okay, that's nice because I can play double 1-drop if they block or if they don't block. Although I guess I should have played my Marsh Flats so I could flip the Cecil. Sorry about that. Although maybe being able to attack with Death Touch next turn is still more important. Not sure. How do you feel about a double block on the Frog here? If they just attack. If they double block, they have to discard 5 of their 6 cards. I think I'd feel okay about that. Because we get to then play the Eddie. This is bad if they have a Riddler as one of their 6. Can we have Transform Cecil? Yes, I said that I misplayed. So I just need to scream my misplays louder so you'll hear them. Okay, so we are gaining enough life that we will have a hard time flipping Cecil next turn. The exile-based removal is also tough. And we don't want to be playing creatures into this unless we draw a shock here. Again, flipping's not... Okay, I guess we should keep this, probably. Flipping doesn't seem too appealing. They're going to get to exile something with the Solitude anyways, so I think I'm okay to play the FOMO. Discard this, and then I have something to bring back with Eddie next turn. Just want a Carnage and Eddie. Yeah, I think that there's some interesting builds you can play with both that are like more like Stitcher Supplier type decks. So they have at least 4 spells in their hand. Now they've got 6 cards. They've got a Sink, which they play tapped. So they probably have Force of Negation if they're going to think like that. Yeah, I think letting them discard the Atraxa. Actually, they just have the Frog to discard the Atraxa. Should have taken the Solitude then. Eddie. What is nice about this line, though, is if they do Solitude, pitching the Atraxa, then they just don't have the Goryo's outs. And they're pretty incentivized to, like, Solitude, pitch Atraxa, dump their hand, warp the Riddler, and, like, 2-turn clock me. The problem is we don't have that many outs against that line, right? I'm having a hard time evaluating this. Like, this seems pretty good. They discard the Atraxa. Then they discard the Force of Negation. Then they discard the Solitude. They discarded the Solitude. They are just like all in on this 2-turn clock. We can draw Detective's Phoenix. We could draw Bauble into Heat. I guess that's still not enough. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so we're going to bring in the Vexing Baubles and the Spellbombs. We're going to cut both Tarfires. I think I don't like the Phoenixes very much either. I think I'm going to trim 1 Eddie for 1 Trespasser, largely because they've got a lot of exile-based removal, and try this. Let's see, what else do we still have to test from the decks we've built? This is our 5th deck, although we didn't play a lot with Lady Spider, admittedly. So I've got Dice Factory Camera, which is probably what I want to play next. We also have Web of Life and Destiny, plus Sandman and Nautilus Nadu, which should be fun. And then we have like 3. We've got Scarlet Spider, Hobgoblin, and Shadow of the Goblin in Hollow One. Not going to get to all of them today, but hopefully get to a good bit. Probably worth keeping that. I think I really want to play the camera deck next because camera is like the most complicated deck building card. It's like maybe the biggest deck building challenge of the year. And to me it seems like the kind of card that I need to be playing more of it and often so that I can understand it better so that we can keep building better decks with it, right? So I want to make sure we get that one. Where to get the desk? I got it at IKEA like 3 years ago. I don't know what it's called, but they had several options. I think getting in with the Trespasser here is fine, especially because they can't Solitude Ephemerate me. What are we copying right now with camera? In the Dice Factory deck, like, it's almost faster to list the things you aren't than you are. Like, you can copy Saga activation, Urza's Cave activation, Saga trigger, Core Tapper activated ability, Tezzeret abilities, Karn abilities. Maybe it wasn't faster. There's one more big thing I'm missing. Not this build, but just a lot of the deck. I don't know if I want to add the Voltaic key or not. Probably should have one. Did you consider Riders for the Charmal deck? Echo too much drawback? Hellkite is just so much better than Avalanche Riders. And like Avalanche Riders' big upside is that can target basic lands and it kills the land permanently. But having a non-echoing 4/5 flyer that puts the stun counter on the land, like it just kills them so fast. And because it kills them so fast, you can get more copies too. But they just die so quickly. The stun counter is really, really similar to killing the land game one. Interesting. They're not going to bounce the Trespasser, or I guess they might. They would cost them a card in their hand, and they can't really use it as a discard outlet because I get to replay it. So they do bounce the Cecil like we expected. Now we can see if we want to just get aggro or not. That's an interesting hand. So we'll take the Atraxa here. We have to take the Gorios. Oh, sorry. I guess maybe we could have taken the Atraxa and just exiled it. I didn't really think about that. Okay, hit them for 5 or 3 down to 8, and then they're pretty cold to, like their Thoughtseize is pretty dead if I do that. So I think I'm gonna just ignore the Teferi. Yeah, I always like to scare y'all with the Atraxa joke. It might have actually just been right this time, though. The thing is, they still have Gorios in their hand, right? So, like, this way I get to strand them with, like, no discard outlet and no Gorios, which does seem pretty nice. No, I think it was right to take the Gorios, because they still have, again, just no discard outlet, no Gorios. They're shocking down to 5. And they're main phasing Subtlety for... to not flip the Trespasser. So I do need one more type to Unholy Heat the Cecil. That's 2 more types. So this should win. So let's do it. Was it ever worth it to heat the Teferi? I think very rarely, because we could just heat it next turn because they can't cast the Thoughtseize. Okay, going to game 3. Good game. Now you want to Undying Effect Avalanche Riders? We've brought back Avalanche Riders a few times. With brought back. Yeah, I think for the most, I mean, obviously brought back's better with Riders, but Hellkite is just the better card for the Birthing Ritual deck. Okay, keep this on the draw. Game 3. What have you played? Parker's Cameron, a Jun shell, copy Rin ability. Not very good to copy Rin ability. Duplicates Eddie, very mana intensive. Duplicates Ragavan is okay, I guess. I don't know. It just... The camera is a very mana-intensive card. I think that this might go without saying. I think because Surveillance exists, we can need to take the Gorios. So right now, I really only have camera and decks that have like Mox Opal, Mox Amber, Tron, K commands, mana batteries. Just the ability to use. I don't love discarding a spell here when I'm a little bit flooded, but I think the ability to eddy for some value next turn seems correct. They do keep a card on top. The hand is Prismatic Ending, Solitude, Mystery card. They notably are not casting the Solitude here. So it's kind of hard to interpret this as anything besides an Ephemerate for the Solitude, right? Here's Eddie, Viggo's Eddie. This is the Spider-Man name. Maybe I should just start calling it the Omen Path name. I guess it could maybe be Mending plus like Atraxa, but I feel like even if they had Mending and no Atraxa, they would just cast Prismatic Ending this turn. Arena of Glory with Goryo's Gwynnum. Gwynnum is just so far away from playable. I don't know. Do I not understand Gwynnum? People keep suggesting this card, so I'm going to reread it because people keep being like, let's play this card in Modern. Although, that's not, this is the name, this is the card, okay. So when it attacks, until end of turn, look at the top card of your library, and you may play cards from the top of your library. If you cast a spell, pay life equal to its mana cost. I know this card costs 5 mana, and you have to have a good thing on top. I guess it could be okay with Witch's Cottage plus Arena, but it's tough to play both of those cards in the same deck, right? Okay, interesting. So, by attack, they just discard 2, but if they discard 2, then they can't Solitude Ephemerate, so I think they're not going to block very often. I think I want to attack, and then I want to Thoughtseize. You get to keep going for the rest of the turn. If you cast a spell, okay, until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play cards on top. Oh, it's not one spell. It's just when you attack. Okay, that is okay. That is a lot more interesting. Thank you. I thought I was missing something if y'all kept asking about it, and I definitely was. They do have the Ephemerate. Let's just go ahead and take the Solitude. And then they can like Pending and Purge, which isn't great, but you know, we'll just kind of we'll just take the 2 for 1 and then keep the Cecil. Reading the card explains the card. I guess it's a little bit wordy, and you know, a lot of times I try to read fast so I can keep the stream going. It's interesting, yeah. It's interesting enough to do some thinking on. Wrong fetch, can't get Stomping Ground. Oh yeah, you're right. Not too likely to matter though. And you can play a land off of it too. Okay, yeah, it's interesting. You play Goryo's plus Arena to enable Gwynnum. Yeah, Emperor of Bones maybe. So they don't cast the Prismatic Ending? Or so they do cast the Prismatic Ending to hold up the Purge. I misread the board there. I guess I'm gonna haste Street Wraith. A play that no one in chat could complain about. No Pending means another Goryo's. No, they're just holding up the Purge. I just missed. I thought they purged main for some reason, but they ending main obviously. I don't really like this card so much. It mostly to me seems like a 4 mana reanimation effect, which I don't think the 4 like I would rather play Emperor of Bones over this card almost every single time. But I might be missing something with it. But for the most part, I think Emperor is better. But it does have some advantages, right? Like it's better against removal. But Emperor has more advantages where you can cast it on turn 2, and being able to cast your cards on turn 2 in Modern matters so much. We get to flip the Cecil. Their hand is Ephemerate, Mystery card, and then another Mystery card after they draw, and then a third one after they draw again, I guess. It's a 4 mana Sherman effect, but you get the cast triggers. Yeah, but like what cast triggers could you realistically get? You know, I've heard a lot of people say you get cast triggers. So I guess it's good with Emrakul. That's something that's kind of interesting. Wait, why do you get the cast triggers? You have it enter as a copy of any creature in a graveyard except its other types. Wait, why do you get the cast triggers? Oh, ETB if you require just say if you cast it. I see. Yeah, what are there any examples of that are notable? They bounce here, and they are going to be 1 card short, thankfully, of killing me next turn with the Teferi. I don't think I can ever detect his Phoenix this turn, but I think we'll still do this main phase 1. It's a good draw. Actually, is there any non-legendary creature you want to Gorios as a 4/4? I mean, we could look a little bit, but none that's really coming to mind. Didn't they have lethal if they didn't purge? Just pitch 4 cards and jump frog? No, not last turn. Did they? I'm at 6 life. Maybe they did, but I don't think they did. Okay, yeah, Tali something. I name is one. Yeah, that one's a stretch. Yeah, I could look a little bit more at it. It was a card that, again, it just mostly seems still worse than Emperor of Bones, right? Search your library for a spirit card and put in. Yeah, I don't think there's a good spirit card to put into play. Okay, that's a great top deck for them. They're still in really bad shape where I have 4 lethal attackers. They still have to deal with 2 of them. I don't do donate for deck reviews, no. I've stopped that. It's been years now, but welcome back. Welcome back. So they can get a basic island with this Delta. Not a big difference between 1 and 2 life here. They warp another Riddler. They draw 2 or 3 more cards. Yikes. So if they have Ephemerate plus Solitude, they could get out of this. They have Nihil Spellbomb, so we die. I did not see the Nihil Spellbomb lethal, admittedly, but yeah, this lets them kill me with the frog. Feels a little unlucky. I think, yeah, they needed exactly Quantum Riddler for the Spellbomb to work also, right? On the draw here, going to keep the sand on the draw of the blind. So Steam Vent's untapped. I think I'm going to be okay trading the Channeler for the removal spell. Wouldn't have minded drawing the Eddy because the Channeler is going to die, but we need lands. Snapcaster Mage, is it versus Unearth Rakdos? Pretty cool. Not really any reason to cycle the Wraith there. Don't get really punished by waiting though. It's got an interesting upkeep stop. Let's draw land. I think we'll fire off the Thoughtseize then. Little unlucky between the Surveil, the draw steps, and the Bauble and the Wraith. They counterspell the Seas. So they might have Snap Bolt available next turn. Our Nethergoyf does survive Snap Bolt. That's one of their 3 cards. Okay, that's fine. They do have Snap Bolt available. They don't have Snap Counterspell. Go for the main phase to stop the Surveils, which I think makes some sense. This also might be a little bit of a tell that they have a Flame of Anor in their hand, so if I draw the land, I probably could prioritize heating this. I think I might just heat it anyways. Maybe that's a little bit slow on the draw, but you know, this is just the kind of game where we're Mana Screw versus Mana Flood, so stopping them from getting the 3-for-1 does seem kind of prudent. And I guess now is as good a time as any to get the calculator out to calculate how unlucky we are. So we were on the draw, so we've drawn 5 cards, we've surveilled once, we've bobbled twice, and we've wraithed once. So that's 9 looks. So population size 53. We didn't fetch, so sample size 9, and we had 18 successes. So we did hit here, but until then we were 98.4% to hit a land. So they did have a Flame of Anor that they also revealed off the Thundertrap Trainer. So maybe they have another one. I think we need to be a bit more mana efficient here. They did have the second Flame. So we'll punish for playing the FOMO. They got 4 cards left though. Oh, okay, but now then we get pretty dang lucky. Basic swamp, baby. So we'll bring back the Goyf, which is always really good in this matchup. Should be a 5/6. Bolt the Yeti, get a nice clean 2-for-1. Wonder if Carnage, Crimson Chaos could work on a grindy Birthing Ritual deck, getting things back like Rally or Specialist. It seems like, for the most part, the Birthing Ritual stuff is better with, like, Warp synergies these days. These days is kind of a funny way to put it, I guess. So I'm going to try to bait the counterspell on the FOMO, since the Goyf is, I think, just so difficult for them to beat. Then let's see if this Goyf resolves. Then if it resolves, I think I just want to haste the Goyf because this is a bit more likely to die. Okay, so we exile 1 Wraith and 1 Channeler, and then we keep Delirium. Mr. Sari with the 54 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Great classic Mana Flood versus Mana Screw game. They have 1 card left in their hand. They decide not to jump block to get a chance at a Flame of Anor. They top deck a Preordain. 2 on the bottom. I guess I don't want to... Okay, they just concede. Great. Feels good to win those. A little bit of lag here. So Vexing Bauble stops Subtlety, which is something they might have and something we don't care that much about. It also stops Flare of Denial. I do think the Trespassers are really good against them. Nihil Spellbomb stops Snapcaster, and it's not the worst answer to Snapcaster. I think I might just play 2 and then 1 less Bauble for like card types. I guess this is also just too many Unholy Heats, actually. Do I even want any Unholy Heats for like their random Crackling Drake or whatever their win con is? I think I'll play 1 copy. I'm gonna play 1 Vexing Bauble. Although maybe Vexing Bauble is worse for me because of my Mishra's Baubles, although you could just sack the Vexing Bauble. It's not usually that big a deal. Play 1. Have you tried the Persist Archon list yet, or did that turn into this one? The Parker Luck Persist Archon. We played it and we trophied with that one. I'm not sure if you're talking about a different deck. But yeah, that deck was looking really good. Trophied with it. Okay, so we're on the draw for game 3. I love playing against Wizards. One thing that's a little bit frustrating to me about Wizards as an archetype is I think like if Flage and Frog were not so insane against the archetype, I think I'm gonna play Channeler turn 1 because I kind of want it to die for Eddie. If Flage and Frog weren't so good, I think Wizards would be really, really strong. But it's just so weak to those 2 cards. You chose for the deck, but you did run pretty lucky. I guess, yeah. Parker lucky, you might say. I agree. Modern is definitely in a space where to do well, you do, like, you know, for most decks, you have to run lucky. But a big part of running lucky in Modern in 2025 is your opponents not having it. For whatever that's worth. Okay, that's Delirium, which we'll take, I think. We'll take the Flame. I think the problem with Wizards is these stupid Blink Value decks go way over you. Same with Eldrazi. I think it can be okay against those decks. I guess that's less true now that like you just like Flame of Ador doesn't kill Riddler. That actually might be like the nail in the coffin. I'm gonna get the Stomping Ground here. Okay, very weird to me that they didn't cast either Galvanic Discharge. Okay, great. What's next, Nautilus or Hollowvine? I think I need to play the Dice Factory deck next. Because I need to play more Dice Factory, or I need to play more Peter Parker's Camera so I can understand the card better. Because it's the hardest card to deck build with, so I try to prioritize the hardest cards first, and so I can get a wider range, so I can build better decks with them as we continue. But we're gonna go a little bit longer today, so there's a good chance we'll play like the Hollowvine after that. I don't know if like Nautilus is gonna be maybe too long a league. It kind of just depends. We might also like O2 drop with the camera deck. I don't know. Why didn't you foresee this and make Flame deal 6 in development? I actually advocated for Flame dealing 3 to any target instead of 5 to a creature. And then they didn't go with that change, which I think I'm happy with. I'm happy that it's as is instead of that change. I think we're just hard casting a Phoenix. It'd be okay to go to 5. Well, I don't. Maybe it's not. If they draw another bolt, we get got. Yeah, sometimes you get got, I think. You have to kill the Tamiyo though because of the bolt. Once I'm done with my board game and novel, would I consult again? I would consult. I haven't been asked since MH3. I don't know what their consulting process is like. I said no to MH3 because they wanted me to come to Seattle, and so I don't know if they just haven't asked me because part of I only take 1 because the Tamiyo, great. I don't know if they haven't asked me because they've changed the process where it's all in person because it's now post COVID, or if they just aren't interested in consulting with me anymore. But I haven't been asked since MH3. Feeling pretty good about our spot. Weird aim. And we 3-2 this league. Not too bad. I do think that the Blink matchups are pretty scary for these Rakdos decks. But I feel like Eddie was hard to evaluate. I do want to try Eddie and maybe Carnage and more of like a Stitcher Supplier deck too. But I wanted to start here, and I think Eddie was at the very least interesting enough to keep working on. That being said, let's keep it going. I do think Peter Parker's Camera or Phenomena Recorder is still